Good morning, Year 9. Hope you've had a super weekend. We're going to try something a little bit different today. As you can see, I've prepared a video clip to help support you with your learning at home. Hope you find it useful. The first thing I would like you to do for me today, I would like you to have a look at the attachments on Show My Homework. And if you've got a printer, I would like you to print off, please, the Do Now task and the 4 equations tasks. If you don't have a printer, or you're running a little bit low on either ink or paper, then please don't worry. All of the questions will be embedded in this video too. Please pause now in order for you to complete your printing. Okay, let's go. I'd like you to have a go at the Do Now task. If you've printed it off, brilliant. If not, just grab some scrap paper in order to tackle these questions. I would allow yourself between 5 and 10 minutes, please. Pause the video now in order for you to tackle the Do Now task. How did you get on with the Do Now? Have a look at the answers, mark your work, and if you spot any errors, feel free to pause the video in order to review that question. Today we're going to be revising 1-step and 2-step equations, progressing to slightly more challenging equations with brackets. Hopefully you'll have met these topics before. Let's start with 1-step equations. X plus 30 equals 45. Now that plus 30 is in the way of me knowing what X actually is. So I need to do the opposite of adding 30, and that is subtracting 30 from both sides. On the left-hand side, I've now just got X. I had plus 30, but I've taken that 30 away. On the right-hand side, I had 45. I'm taking 30 away to give me 15. Now have a go at X plus 20 equals 62 yourself. We need to do the opposite of adding 20, and that's subtracting 20. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides, which simply gives us X equals 42. Y minus 8 equals minus 5. This time I need to do the opposite of subtracting 8. The opposite of subtracting 8 is adding 8. So I need to add 8 to both sides of my equation. Now I'm going to have to be a little bit careful here because we're dealing with negatives. If you struggle with negative numbers and positive numbers, there's never anything wrong with whipping yourself up a quick number line. I'm going from minus 5, I'm adding 8. Be really careful with that one. Minus 5 plus 8, we end up at 3. Could you please have a go at y minus 15 equals minus 1? So we need to add 15 to both sides, which is going to give us y equals, now again a little bit careful here, we end up at 14. 3x equals 15 really means 3 times x equals 15. So we're going to need to divide both sides by 3 to give me x equals 5. Can you please have a go at 5x equals minus 55? So what we needed to do was divide both sides by 5 to give us x equals minus 11. Now x over 2 really means x divided by 2. So this time we need to multiply both sides by 2. This will give us x equals 16. Your turn. So hopefully you've multiplied both sides by 3. That will give you x equals 15. Now I'd like you to have a go at equation task 1. You may have printed it off, but if not, the questions are on the screen. Pause now. How did you get on? Mark your answers, please. Now I would like you to have a go at the second equations task. Pause now. Please mark your answers. And that's how we solve one-step equations. Our next job is to have a look at solving two-step equations. 2x plus 6 equals 20. The first thing you need to do is subtract 6 from both sides. That will give you 2x equals 14. Now remember, 2x really means 2 times x, so the next thing we need to do is divide both sides by 2 to give me x equals 7. Please have a go at 2x plus 12 equals 52. You needed to subtract 12 from both sides to start with, leaving you with 2x equals 40. Then you needed to divide both sides by 2 to give you x equals 20. 7x minus 3 equals minus 10. The first thing you need to do, please, is add 3 to both sides to get rid of that minus 3. On the left-hand side, that leaves us with 7x. Now here we need to be a little bit careful. Minus 10 plus 3 is minus 7. Next, we need to divide both sides by 7 to give us x equals minus 1. Your turn, year 9. Please try 9x minus 5 equals 13. So you should have added 5 to both sides. That would have given you 9x equals 18. Then what we should have done was divided both sides by 9 to give us x equals 2. X over 2 plus 12 equals 17. The first thing we're going to do here is subtract 12 from both sides, which gives me x over 2 equals 5. Now remember, x over 2 really means x divided by 2. So the next thing that we need to do is multiply both sides by 2 to give us x equals 10. Your turn, year 9. Please have a go at x over 4 plus 10 equals 20. Well, the first thing you should have done here is taken away 10 from both sides. That gives you x over 4 equals 10. The next thing we needed to do was multiply both sides by 4 to give us x equals 40. I would now like you to have a go at equations task 3. You may have printed it off. If not, don't worry, the questions are on the screen now. Please pause. Here are the answers to equations task 3. Please mark your work. And that's two-step equations. Well done. Now, if you're ready for a challenge, the last section, we're going to have a look at equations with brackets. If you've had quite enough stretch today with the one-step and two-step equations, feel free to skip on to the plenary. Whenever you see a bracket in an equation, the first thing you need to do, please, Year 9, is expand or multiply out the bracket. And the way that we do that is we multiply everything inside the bracket by what we have on the outside. So here we've got 2 times x, which is 2x, 2 times 3, which is 6, equals 16. And now we have a familiar two-step equation. Let's get rid of that 6. And then let's divide by 2. Your turn, please. 2 lots of x plus 9 equals 22. Have a go. So the first thing you should have done was expand the bracket. That's really important. Then we're taking 18 away from both sides to give us 2x equals 4. We're now dividing both sides by 2 to give us x equals 2. Have a go at equation task 4. Questions on the screen. Pause now. Have a look at your answers. Well done, Year 9. And your last job for me today. Explain to somebody at home how we solve one-step and two-step equations. Make sure you show them a few examples. Enjoy the rest of your day, Year 9.